Hi guys, I'm Isa and this is my J Masterclass. I was BAA in UP, so I graduated 2018, got my CPA, and now I'm in Shopee. So I was also, apart from being BAA, very JMA active when I was in college. I was chairperson for kids. That was like one of my favorite projects in JMA. I was also chairperson and co-founder of Mark Ed. Mark Ed was born when me and my best friend Char were chairpersons for MME. I was ex, so woo, go ex. Until now, parang I can say na a lot of them are still my lifelong friends. So yeah, I'm happy to be giving back now because JMA was such a huge part of my college life. Now I'm in Shopee. I entered Shopee in Jan last year. I've been here for almost 2 years. I'm currently the country product manager for the Philippines. It sounds super fancy and whatever, but it's not that big of a deal. Basically, I help design and roll out a lot of the features you see on the app. So like every time we have a new game, every time there's a new pop-up, how the banners redirect to different parts of the platform, basically anything related to the app, like more on the tech side, is kind of what I'm doing now. I'm very excited to share with you guys also like an overview of e-commerce, how it is in the Philippines now, and how you guys can use it to your advantage. In the Philippines, there are just two major e-commerce players, which I'm sure you guys are familiar of, Lazada or Shopee. Those are like the main platforms now. We see Lazada mostly as our competitor, but there are other e-commerce platforms that you guys might also be purchasing from. So there's Zalora, and there's Beauty MNL, but really more for like the higher AV class. For Shopee and Lazada, we really try to do mass market. So we try to hit Filipino masses. Basically, anybody that has a smartphone is someone that falls within our target market. So Shopee launched around 4 years ago, but Lazada's been here for around 8 years. And the e-commerce industry in the Philippines is really rising at such a huge and crazy pace. Like, I know e-commerce as a whole has risen for Southeast Asia over this pandemic, but just off the record, in the Philippines in particular, for Shopee, we've seen like crazy growth compared to other countries. So like I can't give actual numbers, but what I can say is just from Feb this year, pre-lockdown, compared to now, our numbers have more than doubled for Shopee on a normal day. I think sometimes it goes to 3x of what volume we were seeing just like 6 months back. It's matured so much, mostly because of necessity also. So I'm sure we're all adapting still to this pandemic, but the major adaptation that we saw really was people making their purchases online. And this doesn't just fall true for people our age. I'm sure you've seen even your parents, your titas, your older relatives start to go on e-commerce as well. That's a trend we saw too. Our market expanded from just our age group to even those that are of the generations before us who are now just starting to make their first e-commerce purchase and discovering all the different aspects to e-commerce. That's another thing I want you guys to consider if you were to go into this. First, the crazy growth. Second is the expansion and the penetration that we're doing for e-commerce now, because that's something I think that's still very underrated. Like when you do e-commerce for whatever side business, it's not just us that we're targeting now. You can target moms, titas, people of older generations that are now just starting to go online, which is what we've been doing for the past 4 months too, starting to retarget different markets. I think that the pandemic forced a lot of people to really just consider other options. And what we saw in Shopee was that really the first and main barrier for people to become a customer is that first purchase. Like I feel like a lot of us, even when we're young, before you make your first e-commerce purchase, you're very hesitant. You're thinking like, is someone gonna see my credit card information? Is this really gonna arrive in my doorstep? Is it gonna take forever to arrive? Or like, is it gonna come to me just like how the picture showed it was going to be? So there are so many things going through your mind before you make that first e-commerce purchase, which is especially true for people that are older than us. We saw in Shopee that once you break that first barrier, then it actually almost always results to them being a repeat customer. So after you're able to get them to make one complete and successful purchase, we see the behavior of them coming back the week after and the week after that, and just becoming part of their purchasing habits to go on Shopee or other e-commerce platforms already. That's another thing to consider, that because of the mature market now, people have become repeat e-commerce platforms, which makes it very attractive right now to go into the industry. So in terms of industries that we've seen as fastest moving in this pandemic, it's FMCG. It's been really amazing for us to see also how these big conglomerates and multinationals shifted their strategies in 2020 to be e-commerce focused. Because, just between us, like, and other GMers watching this, a lot of times pre-pandemic, a lot of the FMCG saw us as competition, even if our branding to them was that we were just another channel for them to distribute their items. Like it shouldn't be a competition, it should be complementary to their business. But a lot of them were still wary of e-commerce, wanted to stick to their brick and mortar, wanted to go with what they were strong in, which was really offline distribution. So here in the Philippines, pre-pandemic, most of the FMCG brands that you purchase, you'd buy from your groceries, from your pharmaceuticals, from like mini convenience stores or neighborhood marts. And that's how it was until people had to go online because of the fear of going out, right? So because of that, a lot of people started to turn to Shopee to buy their essentials. Essentials could be anything from like the food, groceries that we purchase to like toiletries, and even to other industries like pet care, because a lot of people now had no access to their normal pet stores. And we saw that these FMCG companies suddenly were redirecting their focus to be e-commerce based because the growth that they've seen over the past few months in e-commerce was really the highest growth among all the industries. I think that a lot of them really had to adapt quickly also because not a lot of them were used to the e-commerce process. Previously, if they were to go through offline distributions, then they kind of just bring their inventory to the stores, leave it with whoever was in charge of that store, and then not think about it until it was sold. But with e-commerce, you actually have to worry about fulfillment, right? So from the time that the customer clicks place order until the time that it gets to them, that's really their responsibility. So that means they have to adapt to knowing how to track the orders that customers place, which ones to fulfill first, especially during campaign season where you see high volumes of orders, how to properly package it, and then how to arrange pickup with our partner couriers so that these orders don't get canceled. Both Shopee and Lazada have strict fulfillment policies. Like the reason why your goods get to you in a week, hopefully, is because we do have like seller policies that they have to adhere to. So if they don't say ship out or click pick up order by a certain number of days, then those will get canceled by our system. And that's to ensure that there's proper buyer experience. So we have like buyer waiting time that we try to target. So like for example, in Shopee in Metro Manila, ballpark, we try to target like 3 to 5 days of buyer waiting time. So there are also a lot of companies now that are thriving on just providing e-commerce fulfillment services like great deals or like e-commerce, but those are like newcomers also that were fulfilling a need that we saw during the pandemic. So normally these third parties would say help a big conglomerate like P&G with the e-commerce arms and handle everything from their customer service or their chat on the platform to packing their items. So now I think it's like a well-oiled machine na halos, like it's been easier now for them to like adapt to e-commerce and also to consider e-commerce into their strategies coming 2021. While it's FMCG that's been growing the most, actually majority of our sales come from what we call marketplace. So in Shopee, we segment sellers between marketplace and mall. So if you're a mall seller, then you're a brand, you're an official store. So you're like P&G, Unilever, Robinsons Appliances, and so on. If you're marketplace, you're just someone like me or anyone else at home that wants to suddenly go online and start selling things. So marketplace is anyone that isn't an official distributor or isn't an official brand. And really like a huge majority of our sales come from our marketplace sellers. So what I'm trying to say is yes, definitely go online now and start selling something. Just find something online that you think is marketable and start selling it. Like because there's almost no starting capital needed on Shopee. It's really built for small time sellers. So we call that C2C, which means selling from consumer to consumer versus like B2C where you have to be like somewhat an established store or business to sell to like other consumers. So don't quote me on this, but I would say in Lazada it's more B2C. So they're more for like bigger brands or like established businesses. And you do need like certain permits, I think, and documents to register with them as a seller. But in Shopee, we really encourage Shopee buyers to become sellers as well. So I don't think you guys know this, but actually, if you have a Shopee account, that can also serve as your seller account too. Like you just need to go to like a button on the upper left, I think, that says like sell on Shopee, and then it will redirect you to our seller center where you can just like start uploading items that you want to sell. A lot of the Filipinos now who go on Shopee really try to either import from other companies like China to start selling, or they find like other local partners to work with, like local communities and provinces that like have goods that they want to sell online. So you can go either track. So you could like find something from China. I think most of you already know that most things both on IG and Shopee are just also from Alibaba and AliExpress. So go on Alibaba, go on AliExpress, find something that you want to resell, and then test it out, get a few test items, and then if you believe in it enough, you can start selling it on Shopee. We even accept pre-order items, meaning you can put something up for pre-order on your Shopee account, and so when orders come in, you have more time to fulfill it so that it's on a pre-order basis and you don't lose out on like idle inventory at home. Second is you could also just sell something that you're completely making on your own, which is something that I super advocate for. Like if there's something that you're currently passionate about and you want to start selling, then yes, by all means, just upload a photo. There's really no harm to it. Like we're just another channel that you can access. And third, if you do have like other local partners, so like Pinoy made items that you already have suppliers for, then those are doing very well on our platform too. Whether you want to do IG or Shopee or both, frankly speaking, if you want to have a brand, like not just, have a business for another cash inflow, but you want like something that's branded, something that's like unique with individuality, then I would say start on IG. Because a lot of us, see so many stores now with like their own branding, with influencers, with promotions, which is something that you can do on Instagram. I don't think it's as accessible to do it on Shopee because we're really more for just the straight buy and sell business. Like, I mean, you can decorate your shop and put up promos, but it won't be as creative and as branded as IG. If you're also selling something that's more expensive, then definitely go on Instagram first because on Shopee, it's almost always price driven. So our customers are very price sensitive. They'll price check your items versus other e-commerce platforms or other sellers on the same platform. So if you see if you're selling something that someone else is selling at a cheaper price, then it'd be harder for you to actually like gain market share for that item. If you want to price something more expensive and brand it, then go through IG first. But if you're just looking to resell something, like something that you saw from another seller abroad or something that you saw from another local seller that isn't really like something that has to be branded, then I would say go on Shopee. Also, I would say if you don't want to invest so much time yet in coming up with like a whole shop that has its own branding and like photo shoots and influencers, then definitely go on Shopee first because it's not as important on Shopee to like have like a super legit portfolio of products with like models and everything. Like you just really need a good product that's priced fairly for you to start. So it all depends on like what time you have on your hands, what you want out of your business, but whether it's a brand or like an extra cash inflow source. And also lastly, I think it depends on like how much you can handle your e-commerce fulfillment because if you're doing it on Instagram, most likely you'll be handling a lot more of the logistics side on your own. So you'll be like booking your own couriers, you'll be like handling which delivery courier to use versus on Shopee where we do provide more support for small time sellers to ship out items and we do it nationwide. So once you register on Shopee, automatically you'll have access to all of our courier partners. We have like JNT, Shopee Express, Ninja Van that can help support your business. So if you're looking to like buy and sell within Metro Manila and provincial and you don't have much knowledge yet on how to like partner up with couriers, arrange for pickup, then it would be easier to start on Shopee. And last point before I move from this one is you can also certainly do both. We've also seen a lot of IG stores now that like put a Shopee description in their IG shop. And I think their main benefit for doing this is that there is a lot of support on Shopee. Like there's shipping support and there's also discount support. So when you have an IG shop and you're looking for ways to diversify like your target market, then you can start shifting to Shopee because we do have promotions. Like we have double sales like the 10, 10, 11, 11 that you can participate in. So it will help give you more exposure for your shop. And we do help with shipping fees for like items that are going to be shipped to provincial. So we do subsidize some of the cost, especially for newer sellers.